Okay, this is our sweet corn. This is about, 2 months old now. And it's quite tall, as you can see. The tassels are forming. And we're getting the ears with the silks coming along. I tell you, this was not even here yesterday, and now we've got the silks coming out of the ears. We also have a mixture of red corn and yellow corn here. And we planted this about 2 months ago, and then we planted some more corn in the back. This was planted later, so we'll have a second crop. This again is also yellow and red corn, but we'll get at least two harvests out of this because we have an early and a late, the same variety though, but planted at different times. We have, these are sugar snap peas here. These have the edible pods, and these are pretty darn close. We can start harvesting some of these. The peas are filling up the pods, and they're still blooming. As long as we keep picking the peas before they get too mature, it should keep producing, at least for a time. This is something new from the last video. These are eggplants. We put those in the ground. Here's our cayenne pepper from the last video. This was just barely a fingernail in size, and now look at this. You know, it's like about 4 fingers long, and may not be too long before these are ready to harvest. I think they turn red when they're ready.
Amazing.
Yeah. We harvested our radishes, but I put more seeds here, and hopefully in a few weeks we'll be seeing the seedlings coming up. We have radishes back there. They're about ready to be harvested. The carrots are they're growing quite quickly. These are our scallions.
What about the broccoli?
The broccoli, yeah.
Look at our broccoli.
We have our early broccoli we planted here. They're growing like crazy. And then we planted some broccoli a little bit later. They're small plants right now, but I don't see anything like broccoli head on there yet, but it probably won't be too much longer. We'll start seeing something to pick. The spinach is continuing to bolt. Last time I think it was forming seeds because the weather's too hot for it or something, but we can probably get some harvest out of there, but not as much as I had hoped. Our lettuce is getting quite thick. We got red lettuce here. I think this is butter crunch and maybe some romaine down there. That's all doing well. We have our cantaloupes. They're growing quite nicely. They're beginning, let's see if I can find a little tendril here where they'll start climbing on the fence. I saw one here the other day. Where did it go? Oh yeah, right here. You can zoom in on that. You can see there's a little tendril, filament, I guess. Some people might call that a tentacle. And that will wrap itself around the fence, and it'll secure itself, so it'll grow up this fence, and it'll keep the fruit off the ground. It'll be a lot nicer that way. They'll be better shaped. They won't be dirty. They won't have rotten spots on the end where it's touching the ground. The tomatoes continue to grow. One of the things, since we got 6 plants and basically we're feeding about 4 people maybe, we don't want massive vines. We want earlier crop. We don't need as much fruit, but we want earlier fruit. And the trick to that is to pick these little things, like right here, it's called a sucker. You can see this right now, it's just a little tiny thing. If I were to let that grow, it would have another vine growing out of this little crotch. And the more of these you leave on there, the more fruit you're going to get. You're going to get a bigger vine, but you get later fruit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this out like that.
Excellent.
Okay, and that will give us earlier fruit, less fruit, but earlier fruit. So that's what we're trying to strive for in this garden. I put mulch here. That will do 2 things. It'll keep the weeds down, and it'll also keep the soil uniformly moist. With tomatoes, what tends to happen is the bottom of the fruit, called the blossom end, will tend to have like a rotten spot on it if soil is not uniformly moist. So if the top of the soil is dry and the fushes down is moist, the tomato vines react in a strange way and makes the fruit kind of rot on the bottom. So having the mulch will hopefully prevent that. Also, we should probably point out the difference between mulch and compost. Mulch is organic material that you put on the top of the soil, and to keep the weeds down, to help with conserve the moisture in the soil. The other thing is compost. You take a similar material and you put it in a pile and you let it rot, and that becomes compost. You stir that into the soil, and that gives you a very high quality fertilizer, much better than you can buy. And we have a compost pile right behind here. I can give you a little sample of what that looks like. Let me see. Use this, I guess. What I've been doing is saving my grass clippings and make a pile, and I'll dig down a little bit to give you some idea what compost looks like. Right here's a good example of it. And that's simply a decayed organic matter. And in there is a lot of trace elements that you don't get in the commercial fertilizer. And this is what plants love, especially tomatoes. But this is something you'll work into the soil, and put your plants in this mixture of compost and garden soil, and that gives you a very, very fertile media for your plants to grow in.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you for that insight.
Okay, and then let's get the rest of it over here.
Like this pile right here, we're on the subject right behind you.
That's right. I haven't spread that out yet, but eventually I'll be putting more of the eggplant in here. And some other seedlings will go in this spot, and this is much more mulch than I think I can use. Some of it's going to end up in the compost pile, and we'll turn it into compost. So we have bell peppers. I put those in the ground just the last couple of days. And we have one eggplant. I'll put more eggplant here. The cucumbers are like the... you can get a good view of that from there. So these are the cucumbers, and these also have the tendrils. If you can see that on the zoom in on that maybe.
Yes.
And that will also attach the vines to this wire fence, and they'll grow up, and the cucumbers will be off the ground, and it'll take less space that way, because cucumbers and cantaloupe left on the ground take a huge amount of space. But if you can grow them vertically, you're going to save a lot of room. You won't have as much weeding to do. Your fruit will be cleaner. There's a lot of advantages for this square foot method of gardening. We have some of the red onions I got transplanted in mulch, put mulch around it, and back there is our shallots we planted a long time ago, and they're continuing to grow and get thick, and hopefully they'll be ready to harvest before long. Let's see, what else? Tony wanted me to wear sunglasses because I'm squinting into the sun, but I thought, I don't want to look too Hollywood. So, here's our seedlings. We still haven't put all of them in the ground yet. They will eventually go in pretty quickly. Here's our Roma tomatoes. No, wait a minute. These are the porterhouse tomatoes. The Roma tomatoes are still in the cold frame. Still in the
cold frame.
And these are our leeks. They're, I think I took too long before I put them in these 6-packs. They were growing in vermiculite, and they were in there too long, but they'll eventually do okay in the potting soil. And then when we get a little bigger, I'll put the leeks in the garden proper. Okay, these are the eggplants. These are big enough now I can probably put those in the garden real soon. These are the yellow onions, and they're looking pretty good. They've really come into their own now since I put them in regular potting soil. The vermiculite is really a sterile medium, and so you don't want to leave them in there too long like I did. But you live and learn.
Yes, you do.
Okay.